You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. Tonight, the WMC McLellan Competition for Solo Performance takes place at Jubilee Place Auditorium, featuring the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra and 3 finalists. Here on Winnipeg's Classic 107, we've introduced you to 2 of them already, and it's my pleasure to welcome the third to the show now. No stranger to Winnipeg audiences, nor Classic 107 listeners, cellist David Liam Roberts. Hi, David Liam.
Hi.
Well, it's great to see you. This finals appearance, just the latest in your accomplishments, which have been so well documented here on the station. Congrats on your success in the McClellan competition thus far.
Thanks so much. It's a pleasure to be back in Winnipeg performing. So I'm excited.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. How does it feel to be back here at home in town?
It feels great. Besides all the snow, um, it feels like coming back to winter. But yeah, obviously it's really nice to be back. I always notice, because I stay at my parents' place, I always notice coming back from busy Toronto, where I'm staying downtown. It's so noisy where I live in Toronto, and just coming back here, it just feels like calm. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I want to chat a little bit about well, I want to start off this chat, I guess I should say, by going back in time to 2018, when you were also a WMC McLellan finalist. We had you on the station ahead of that performance. And at the time, you had just finished applying to all 5 of the music schools that you were considering at the time. You'd heard back from all of them, and you ultimately settled, as you just mentioned, on Toronto, the Glenn Gould School, the Royal Conservatory. And in the conversation, you talked about how it was such a commitment. It was going to be 4 years. And here we are, fast forward 4 years later. Does it feel like it's been a long time since your last McClellan competition performance?
Yeah, what a blast from the past. Um, yeah, well yeah, it definitely flew by those 4 years. I'm just finishing my degree now in Toronto, and now I've just auditioned for grad school, and it just so happens that I'm also staying in Toronto for the next two
No
years for an
way.
artist diploma program, at the same school, the Glenn Gould School.
I
So
mean, it's
yeah.
it's really interesting because we keep getting these little snippets of where you're at in your career, right? This is the nice thing that happens when we get to follow an artist in their progression, and it's cool to hear that you're going to be finishing up your degree and then continuing to stay on. Obviously, you're enjoying the Toronto scene. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to the last little while.
Yeah, the Toronto scene has been awesome. Obviously, there's just so many really inspiring, great musicians to learn from there, as there are in Winnipeg too. And I've just really enjoyed getting to know more people in the Toronto scene. And I've been performing a lot with the Toronto Symphony recently,
Mm.
and that's been a wonderful experience to learn and just to grow as a orchestral musician. um, and yeah, I've been able to connect with a lot of people through the Royal Conservatory where I go to school. And yeah, I love it there, and that's what part of the reason why I'm staying for the next 2 years.
Well, I'm so glad to hear that, and it's great that you're carving out a niche for yourself and taking in those performance opportunities. Speaking of being a performer with an orchestra, in this case you're a soloist with an orchestra, and to go back to that 2018 competition, you were the one and only instrumentalist at the time. This time round, you are one of 2 instrumentalists. The other happens to be a guy you might know. You might have crossed paths once or twice. You happen
Yeah.
to be trio mates together with Greg in the finals as well. He too a past McClellan competition finalist. How does it feel to be in this year's final alongside Greg?
Yeah, well, I guess we should have seen it coming. I think we were both planning to try to do the competition again, and it's such a great experience. And so yeah, it is kind of a funny thing that we're both in the same competition this year. Um, yeah, it's cool because Greg is playing the Mendelssohn Concerto, and I'm playing the Schumann Cello Concerto, and they're actually very similar in a lot of
Hmm.
ways. So I think it'll be interesting for the audience to hear both concertos back to back. But yeah, it's a good rivalry to have within the trio. So
Yeah, just don't tell Paul, I guess.
yeah.
But he's been there for sure too. So I wanted to ask about that. I mean, in terms of what you're going to be performing, so we're going to get a really healthy dose of German romanticism in this program, then, right?
That's right. That is definitely that sounds about right.
So tell us about your relationship with this Schumann cello concerto. Have you performed it before? Are you looking forward to, diving into it again, or is this a new thing? It's like, interestingly enough, Greg was saying he's sort of put off learning the Mendelssohn concerto because there was so much weight there. He was told, hold on, and this will be the first time he's playing it with an orchestra. What about you and the Schumann?
Oh yeah, yeah. With the Schumann, I played it a lot recently. I first learned it when I was a teenager, and studying with Yuri, and I never played it with the orchestra or anything. But 2 years ago, I was supposed to perform it in New Brunswick with the
Mhm.
New Brunswick Youth Orchestra, and it just so happened that that was a piece I was supposed to play right before the pandemic hit. So I arrived on March 13th. The concert was supposed to be March 15th, and as soon as I arrived, they were like, "No, we have to cancel it." So it never actually happened. So now it's actually finally going to happen. So, and it's with the Winnipeg Symphony, no less. So
With the with the Winnipeg Symphony, no less, and your former teacher, who happens to be the principal cellist in the WSO with Yuri. I know you two have kept up. You've performed together online and in person over the last little while. You must
yeah,
be excited to reconnect with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra here in town.
definitely. I know so many people in the orchestra, and they've all been so supportive of me through the years, and especially Yuri. And I'm especially excited to play with Yuri in the orchestra because in the second movement of the Schumann concerto, there's a principal cello solo that features prominently. So it's the second movement is basically a duet between the cello soloist and the principal cello. So I think that'll be a special moment, and I think yeah, people will enjoy it. So
Special for sure, for us in the audience, but for you as well. And it's so nice that
yeah,
in a way Yuri gets to feature prominently in this performance with you. Of course, he's had such a hand in your career and developing your talent. Another, speaking of support that you've received over the years, the Women's Musical Club, as Greg and I were talking about yesterday, has not only supported you as a solo musician but also as a chamber musician. What does the WMC mean to you, being back here in town now to perform for the McClellan Competition finals?
it's yeah. There's really no expressing how meaningful the work that they're doing is in Winnipeg. Um, that yeah, that organization has helped so many young musicians in Winnipeg financially with performance opportunities like the McClellan. Um, I think they've been doing such an important they've been playing such an important role in helping young musicians come out of Winnipeg, come out of Manitoba, and make a national and international performing career. And so I've been really thankful to have benefited from their support over the years, and like a lot. So I'm really thankful for that, and so this is just one more of those really great opportunities. Um, and I have to say, I think the best part of this McClellan competition is the performance aspect with the Winnipeg Symphony. That's so rare to have a competition that includes a soloist opportunity with a live orchestra, and one that's at the caliber of the WSO. So it's it's kind of a unique, really special experience for people so early in our careers to be playing with the WSO, and to especially to meet Maestro Raiskin and to work alongside him. It's a really special opportunity. So yeah, definitely not taking it for granted.
Well, I'm sure you're not, and well, we're lucky to be able to welcome you back to Winnipeg and to hear you performing now that you're finishing up your undergraduate degree, and then excited to follow you on the rest of your journey. But in the meantime, an exciting performance coming up tonight. David Liam, congrats again, and thanks for taking the time to chat with me at Classic 107.
Thanks for having me.